Good evening, everyone. This is a in-person special meeting of the Bridgeport Board of Education. Today is Wednesday, June 24th, and it is 7:05 p.m. I am Jennifer Perez, the chair of the board. In attendance, we have Joseph Oliver, vice chair, Maritza Echeverria, secretary. We have Albert Benahan in person. Online, we have Andre Woodson and Rob Traber. Get started. The first item on the agenda is public speaking. And Kurt Erickson.
Good evening, everybody.
So you have 3 minutes.
3 minutes? Perfect. Good evening, everybody. So, we were here last time, wasn't let in. I appreciate being let in first and foremost. Thank you, for that privilege. But, I see it as a right. There's been a lot of different things going on in the school system here that we've been uncovering: pedophiles, sex offenders, not on the registry, but sex offenders still the same, because you don't necessarily need to be on a registry to be a sex offender. I just want everybody to understand this, they're still a sex offender. We came with court transcripts. We're catching these sex offenders with a special condition from judges, local judges, that say they cannot be around other children that aren't theirs. We caught them on Tisdale's website around children. We caught them on the Magnet School's website playing intramural sports and contact sports with other children. I have tried to be quiet about that one, approached the Magnet School quietly, and the principal asked for a meeting, was accepted with a meeting, chatted with her. She acknowledged the fact that she knew about it, but he hasn't been around for quite some time. There's a recording of it. And then I was able to show her in consequence that he's still there last month, playing sports. Parents should know about this. Parents should know when there's a sex offender that is not allowed to be by court order around their children. If we brought it to light, what happened was the next day, the superintendent's office from Margaret, the vice or the lower superintendent, whatever her title is, put out an email saying that we were calling her a sex offender, referring to my post, not vaguely, not saying my name, trying to cover, school board was trying to cover their butt. The fact was the post wasn't fake. The principal's on tape acknowledging the fact that this was existing there during that meeting. The meetings were then there was an email sent around to the school board about me trying to trespass me, not let me in schools, this and that. It can't be done. That's why it wasn't done. But that's unacceptable for spreading a message that's true and factual. We shouldn't have sex offenders around children, period. It's unacceptable. It's a hard no. Everybody in here should feel the same way about it. And if you don't, find another job, And now we have a whistleblower that came forward that was brave enough to start uncovering different things that have been happening to different students. A student was abused. There was a sexual assault that occurred in front of him. These are all facts. You may not be able to speak about it because you don't want to mess up an investigation, but the bare minimum should be said legally to cover your butt, but just so parents know. Parents should always know. Parents should know everything about the safety of their children. That's first, before image, before money, before anything. It doesn't matter. If you can't put the children's safety first, you got to go. That's it. And more is coming out. I got pamphlets here. If anybody wants some pamphlets about what's been going on, there's facts, there's transcripts. Everything is factual. And if it's not, sue me. And you won't. It's not going to happen because it's going to come out in discovery that it's true. This is unacceptable stuff that's happening to our children. People need to stand up and say something. It could be any one of you that go whistleblow too. It's okay. It's a lot of trauma that comes with it. But, have some backbone, have some spine, because you don't deserve that position if you don't. Your spine and backbone should come before my kids. Period. Your servants, your public servants, act as such. Thank you.
He doesn't.
13?
3 minutes. You want me to flag you down for a minute? You do that.
Good evening, everybody. I just want to start by saying, tomorrow's the last day of school. I know everybody's happy to go get a break, to refresh and come back. I was told that I had to stick to a certain agenda. I'm not sure if that's the fact.
No.
Okay, so it's changed. But I do want to say in speaking in regards to the evaluation for superintendent, I would like to say that Dr. Avery, we're still, as a community person, still trying to get a little relationship and conversations with him. His door is open. He's never turned me down for a meeting. You know, and his ears are open to listen to concerns that people have. And I think that's good when you're choosing a superintendent. One of the most important things I'd like to say to the people who make the final decision is that the community has to be engaged. We cannot lock the community out. I mean, all of you, some of you are from Bridgeport, some of you are from out of town, can't come here and try to have private meetings and not engage the community. The community is very important to the success of the Board of Education. There are times that the community could help where the Board of Education can't reach. So I just want to say, Dr. Avery, if you are chosen, keep that line of communication open. This is very, very important. Lastly, because of the agenda, I know you said you could say whatever you want. I just want to say that I know everybody isn't just going to go straight home after the last day of school. So I'm open to have a conversation because my daughter told me that you guys are planning to close some classrooms at Thomas Hooker School. And I just got to tell you, these are urban kids. And capacity classroom doesn't, where you guys are having a hard time teaching uncapacity, you know, classrooms that aren't filled up. So you got to know that when you fill them up, it's going to be more difficult to reach kids, some of which are going to need one-on-one conversations with the teacher. When you got 29 and 30 kids in the classroom, that's already going to be difficult, especially in urban America. These kids come to school with a lot of issues. You guys know that. We have to figure a way to make this learning environment more friendly for students. And I do not say that with disrespect. I don't think you guys are trying to make a hostile classroom, but I'm telling you, from the conversations I have with teachers, parents, as a former resource officer, I know what it takes, and you guys as educators should know as well.
Ms. Linda, your time.
My time's up.
There you go.
All right, thank you.
That concludes public speaking. We're gonna move on to the approval of the minutes from the regular meeting on June 8th, 2026. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the regular meeting minutes for June 8th, 2026.
Second by Mr. Motion made by Mr. Skolnick, seconded by Mr. Benahan. Any debate? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? That passes. Next up, we have the end of the year evaluation presentation by interim superintendent, Dr. Mercy.
I go.
No.
Again, I didn't say. Yeah. Oh, you guys, I can see a little bit. So. Good afternoon, everybody. Again, Dr. Ray, interim school superintendent. Thank you, board, for giving me the opportunity to kind of give you a year-end review of some of the things, good, bad, and different across the district of Bridgeport Public Schools. So I would like to, again, start my presentation by, again, thanking you guys for the opportunity. It's been a great opportunity to kind of stand before you to celebrate our successes and also look at the challenges that we've had over the last year or so, and really kind of bring that all together tonight to really kind of make sure that, you know, just because we've had some success, there's still a lot of things that we have to work on. And I think that's going to be the pivotal point for moving forward, be it me as the superintendent or not. But still, the board and the community still will have an idea of what needs to happen. And so I'm going to give you that today. It's a pretty lengthy conversation that I'm going to have with you tonight, but I think it's important that we go through it, you know, slide by slide, detail by detail. in addition to that, I have some community guests that's going to also stand with me to talk about a few items that I want to also share. Because I think one of the highlights that we've done this year is that we brought this community together to talk about and to collaborate and to advocate for the things for our children in this district. It's been a long time coming that we had so much collaboration, and we'll talk a little bit about some of those successes and also some of the things that we need to continue to do and focus on as we move into the next school year. So as you can see, the first slide, just really talking about the overview of the presentation. Next slide talks about, the executive summary. I'm not going to go through that, but this presentation will be posted online, and usually with the executive summary, this really talks about everything that's within the presentation. And so I wanted to make sure that you'll get a chance to go back and look at the executive summary as well. And then I bring before you a message from the superintendent, really just kind of giving my perspective over the year, and really looking at, it's too small to read out, so I'm not going to read that for you. But really wanting to make sure that, in this leadership role, sometimes the superintendent is a lonely position in this school district. And so sometimes you have to be able to kind of set your focus on the things that's necessary, but also, just like Mr. Nelson talked about earlier, it is a community affair. It's a community opportunity to come together and really look at, what is important to this community. And I think once you see some of the things that we're talking about in this presentation, it pinpoints things that this community should be looking and holding not only myself accountable, but for this board and the rest of this community as well. So that's the important piece. And now that we got the momentum of collaborating together, that's what needs to continue to happen. I think that's important to be able to do. We move into, one of the things I started off, this school year with is the basic roadmap. Things that we could do collectively as a district to kind of really make sure that we're on a path for success of the entire district. And so we talked about one of those things was stabilizing district operations. And that is a huge piece of an organization that has been, good and bad things throughout the last 10, 15, 20 years. And so bringing those all together and stabilizing that has been a true fact of what we've tried to do this year, really looking at that. And some of those key items are that we're going to talk a little bit about is, the urgency and the need. Sometimes you have to set that urgency of we got to get this done, not yesterday, but now. And so we've done a good job of setting the urgency of what needs to happen. Also aligning resources with priorities. We've done a really good job of being able to do that as well. Although we didn't have a whole lot of resources, but we maximized the resources that we did have in order to make sure that we were taking the right steps forward for the children of this district. Number two, we talked a little bit more about restoring accountability, not only the accountability in the classroom, but at the campus level, at the district level, at the board level, at the community level, being able to look at what are we going to hold ourselves accountable for to do. And on behalf of children of this school district, over 20,000 plus, 19,000 plus kids. They're very, very important to what we do and how we prioritize, and then also being transparent, about what we do. We've had several different types of meetings, community meetings, and all those things. Again, we have to continue to do that. And I know over the last 2 years, we've had so many of those opportunities to embrace the community and also having the board go out with us to be able to do a little bit of that. So I commend the board and the effort that you guys helped me to get out there and do some things as well, and doing it collaboratively. Number three on the roadmap talks a little bit about, student outcomes. One of the things that you'll see in everything that we've done this year is students first, making sure that the things that we do impact children in every, form and fashion that we can. And I think that's really been a true pivotal point of what and why we do the work that we do every single day. Again, I commend my leadership team to be able to, they've always been out there with me, fighting the fight, making sure that we can advocate and do the things. And again, I think the board did an excellent job this year as well of making sure that that was a pivotal point for us as well as we work through this. Number four talks a little about rebuilding the workforce. We've done a great job of hiring teachers for this district. The biggest and the hardest part of that now is to retain them, making sure that we have, comparable pay, the environments that they're going into are environments that they're going to be able to kind of, understand, work with, and get better as we improve across the district. Again, a huge impact. And then the final, area we talked about really looking at that long-term goal. And I think one of the things the board gave me, the task that they gave me, and I know one of the things, the first task they're going to have the new superintendent do is to establish that long-range strategic plan. But what I did is I kind of calculated a year-long strategic plan opportunity in these plans that you'll see here tonight. But I think one of the biggest part of that is involving the community again, and really looking at what is important to this community, what's important for the system in order for the system to run very well as we keep moving. Again, it talks about the roadmap at the bottom. It talks about the roadmap reflects leadership strategy used to stabilize operations, restore accountability, improve student outcomes, rebuild workforce capacity, and plan for long-term stability. Because things just doesn't happen overnight. It takes practice. It takes, stability for things to really catch hold and things work very well for us. And so again, we've done that, and we'll hopefully be able to expand upon that as we move forward. Next slide talks about the district-wide transformation, and it highlights a couple of different areas that we've done a really super good job on this year. And the first one on the column here talks about fiscal stewardship. One of the things that has been very important to this leadership team is that we have to maximize the few dollars that we do have. We came into the district, this school year with about a $45 million deficit. Didn't really know how we were going to get out of it, but I think we're going to see a lot of reoccurrence opportunities that we had all year long to really bring this thing together, to really advocate for that the $35.4 million that we received from the state and the city. We had $108 million plus in grants this year, which is a huge impact. And we're looking at either double or tripling that number for next year. And we also internally looked at what could we do differently? How can we maximize the dollars to save about $12 million in order to meet that $45 million deficit that we ended up with at the end of this school year? And then we also did a forensic audit, which came back with 34 recommendations that we as a district needed to be able to do. And I'm very proud to say that we're finalizing the final touches of those 34 recommendations, which a lot of it's all internal processes and things that we need to do internally with our policies, with the budget process, all those things, which are the two state technical assistance teams has graciously helped us to kind of fine tune and make, an opportunity for the board and myself and the district in itself to really streamline how we do our business when it comes to the financial stewardship. The workforce stabilization, again, at the beginning of this school year, we had over 150 vacancies, and then we ended up with about 30 to 35 vacancies at the end of this year. And so I'm very, very proud of that because I think that's important. We had about 30 some odd special ed vacancies. And at the end of the year, a couple of weeks ago, we ended up with just 2 vacancies in special ed. And if you've been watching the news, special ed has been a hard teaching position to hire. And Bridgeport Public Schools did a super job with all the additional social media opportunities, working with the state, looking at bringing retired teachers back into the opportunity to teach for this district. Really thinking outside the box a little bit of how do we do this and how do we make sure that we can attract these teachers back to the district. And then the other part, the third column over there talks about impacting students, and really looking at improving K2 students out of the above benchmark scores. Again, that's one of those academic areas that is always important to be able to do, especially when you talk about your early learners, pre-K, K1 and 2. That's a very important piece that we always have to be able to maintain and improve upon every single year. We had 13% decrease in K2 students that scored below benchmark. So again, that evens the playing field a little bit for those youngsters. We had 4,000 plus college applications submitted in this district, which is a huge improvement from last year as well. And then we had over 5,594 multilingual language students being supported in this district, which is a huge thing as well, because those children sometimes will not always be provided those necessary additional supports that they need coming into the country first time, with them and their families. Being able to support the families, to support the children as well, has always been a key factor as well. And then we move to some of the other things. Again, the current overview, we talked a little bit about, we started the school year and then we ended the school year. And so a very good comparison between what we did and how we did it. And I wanted to make sure that this slide emphasizes that. And I think you can take it and compare it and say, wow, from 150 plus to 41, from 31 to 32. We didn't have the audit findings until the end of mid-year this year. We started working on those, and now we're pretty much completed with those audit findings. So again, those are the things that you have to take, consideration and say, hey, we've done the thing, we've done the work. Now we have to sustain the work and kind of work from there. Very, very important to be able to do. The educational leadership, and this is an area that we will be addressing next year as well. Really looking at how do we maximize making sure that our campuses and our district leadership teams are well equipped to do the work that we need to do, and that also invites partnerships in to be able to help do this work. So we looked at some of the priorities that we wanted the leadership teams to be able to kind of focus in on, and that was academic achievement and equity. I think making sure that our kids are getting the same, types of educational opportunities that other kids in other districts in Connecticut is very important to us. Family and community engagement, and you're going to hear from some of our stakeholders to talk a little bit about that. Being able to connect families to this district and to community partners to be able to provide those additional services for those families as well. Again, the leadership focused on fiscal responsibility and sustainability, because you can't just do one day and not do it the other day. You have to be able to sustain it. And that takes work and it takes planning to be able to do that. Talent recruitment, we did a great job in recruiting. We went to a lot of job fairs. We had a lot of individual recruiting fairs where we open up what's called open enrollment for potential candidates can come in and just kind of meet with us and figure out where they are and get them hired. Again, a lot of things that's important to, as a leadership focus in on the work, then we have to be able to kind of, make sure we can strategically understand how do we intervene and make it better as we roll through things. So again, a lot of opportunity to, we had a district and campus improvement plans, and that's just that continuous opportunities for campus and principals to understand exactly what is important to the district, because the district has a district improvement plan as well. And all those things should be aligned to the district plan. Again, and then, make their way down to making sure that everything is connecting as they go up the scale. We had attendance dashboards that was presented to this community. We did a lot of the graduation monitoring systems, because graduation needs to be monitored all year to make sure we get the maximum number of kids graduating, with their diplomas by the end of May or June, whenever we have a graduation. And then continuing on to that, we focused in on attendance. There's a lot of attendance opportunities and promotions that we did all across the year. We'll have Mr. Bell going to talk a little bit about prioritizing that attendance. I think Carly and her division did an excellent job of making sure the LEAP program was focused enough to be able to make sure kids want to be in school, right? And so we have to make sure that we make that and keep that connection and keeping them there. Now, LEAP program did a really good job. I got a lot of kudos from the state talking about how these individuals are going out to the homes and visiting with parents and visiting with kids about being connected and staying in schools and doing that work. This effort, helped with a 2.6% reduction in chronic absenteeism. And that's huge, guys. That's a huge piece of making sure kids are wanting to be in our buildings and wanting to be in our schools. I think that's important to be able to emphasize. And then we talked a little bit, the next slide talks about curriculum and development. Margaret Hughes and her divisions, all aspects of really looking at what are we doing with the curriculum and how are we getting teacher voice and helping develop and write that curriculum. And so I think it's important to really look at some of the things that we did when we talk about, curriculum develelment, increasing, elementary schools, 71% elementary schools increased ELA achievement, that's English language arts, really making sure that if kids can't read, they're not going to be able to be successful. So we have to make sure that that focus is important. 79% of elementary students also increased in mathematics. So that's another vital, learning point that has to be maintained as we move forward through our district. And I have, math teacher Wendy here to give us a little overview of success that they've had in the math program. So you want to come talk a little bit about the math curriculum for us for a second?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you for inviting me. I want to talk about our incredible math department. It is truly amazing. This group of people who show up every day to teach, support, encourage, and occasionally perform minor miracles, getting seventh graders to remember a pencil. One of my favorite parts of being in this department is coaching the math competition team. Over the years, I've been lucky enough to win the competition 12 times. 12. You might think, she must have a secret formula. But I don't. I just do a lot of practice and I use a lot of my prep periods. I sacrifice a lot of them. And a lot of students who are very excited about being in the math club, about the competition. And let me clarify something important. I do not use the win time for competition practice. Win time is sacred. Win time is for helping kids and with exactly what they need. Catching up, building confidence, or just having a quiet moment to realize, I can do this. Win time is where the magic happens. The competition practice is where the controlled chaos happens. And the math competition itself is so well organized. Putting it together every year is basically like an Olympic sport. There are schedules, questions, teams, last minute changes. And of course, there's always did we include that question on the competition? And yet every year, Mr. Planas and his staff pulls off this amazing mix of organization, creativity, and sheer willpower. And the kids, they are so excited to be part of it. They talk about it like it's I'm gonna be honest, I have Super Bowl. I have it scratched up. So let me start it over. They talk about it like it's the World Cup of math. Which honestly, it kind of is. They practice during my prep periods. They ask, when's the next section? Who's staying on the team? Who's going to be let go? And they walk around with this proud glow on their face. Yes, I'm on the math team. Please hold your applause. So tonight, I just want to thank everyone for inviting me. Thank you to the teachers who inspired me, the students that challenge me and keep me on my toes, and to the department that somehow manages to be supportive, and hilarious at the same time. I'm proud to be part of the team that believes in excellence, collaboration, and celebrating every win, big or small. Thank you.
And when you have the opportunity to have and engage with educators, like Wendy, I think it's important to know that this is what it's all about. When you get educators connected to the work and making sure that they can connect that work to encouraging children, this is what it's all about. And the more we do this, the better we're going to become. Again, this is a little different the way of being able to present this thing, but I think it's important that you understand that superintendents can't do it alone, guys. You got to have a community of family and friends and teachers to be able to help do this work. And so I'm trying to make sure that you understand that it's not, I'm just here orchestrating things. The people that's doing the work are the people out here doing the work. And so I think that's important to know. So thank you for that. Thank you for that encouragement. And thank you for making sure that kids are getting that math skill set that is important. And that I've been there to the event a couple different times, so it's very magical. Thank you for that. As we move on, again, there's a lot of other curriculum pieces that it's important to acknowledge as well. We published a K-12 curriculum for all content areas this year as well. We have a dashboard of where all this curriculum warehouse goes, so that teachers have this access to meaningful curriculum that they can use and work with on a day-to-day basis. We have the Connecticut literacy model that really oversees, how reading is taught throughout the state of Connecticut. Being able to bring that into play is a huge part of what we're doing as well. We expanded the WIN block a little bit and intervention blocks to target academic support to address student learning, because some of our children need the extra help, and that WIN block does that in the middle of the day. And so that teachers have the ability to work with kids that need a little bit more support moving forward. Next talks about supervision and human capital. Again, we talked a little bit that I'm not gonna stress the human capital piece, but I think the recruiting that we did, the partnership that we have with the universities around Connecticut, UB, Sacred Heart, Fairfield University, Housatonic, he's gonna give you a few words of how that connects to work that we do every single day. I think that is important that we bring community partners into play and making, because it strengthens how teachers are getting coached, principals getting coached, and even us as district leaders, we need that coaching as well. So it's important that we can't just rely on our organizations that we belong to, but as we build the teaching capacity and the leadership capacity in this community, you have to have that community input on how do you do it, because things change from last year to this year. The world's changed, and we all know that about AI now embracing the work of education. So we're going to have to be able to kind of open our minds of how do we do that differently. And that's going to be an important piece that we're going to be reaching out to the universities as they do their research on how to best integrate that into the educational environment. And then we talk about special education leadership. Again, I think we've done a good job of really trying to understand the magnitude of special ed, and it was a big chunk of the pie that we really didn't have a good handle on. And so we tried to be able to really understand what that is and what do we need to do differently. And again, this is always going to be another area that's going to be a very important piece of the plan moving forward in this district, because we serve a lot of kids with a lot of needs. We have to be able to be equipped with that. So the district prioritized improving student services, programming, compliance, and family engagement. And we had a couple of great accomplishments that I'm going to emphasize. We secured and advanced the new special education center, about $75 million to build a new specialized center. Thanks to George and the delegation, the city, and the board accepting that recommendation. And we should be fine-tuning what that's going to look like over the next year and a half, I'm thinking, George. So again, that's a very, very positive piece. We reduced special education teacher vacancies to 98%, which we're very proud of that as well. again, the hardest part of that is maintaining and keeping them in the district. So we got to make sure that we're equipping them, and we're doing some things. The state of Connecticut also provided some additional seed money to really enhance special education leadership and what we're giving kids and how we're doing it. And so that is going to be, we had 1 year of funding and we have another year next year of funding that's going to really set the stage on how we do our business, and really providing resources for teachers and opportunities for kids to have innovative opportunities with technology as well as we move forward. We conducted a district-wide special ed listening and learning tour, really understanding what is the need out there, what are we trying to do, and what do we want to make sure that we work for us. We did a good job of, and the board also supported this, of how do we develop IEPs. IEPs is a pivotal educational plans for children with special needs. And if those plans aren't developed, in a very strategic way to provide ways of being able to support and monitor those, then sometimes the services are lost. So we have to make sure that those IEPs are developed in a way that's going to be meaningful for them. So we've done a lot of that training. And I do want to recognize that the state of Connecticut, at the beginning of this school year, we did was it 2 days, 3 days training of special ed across the district with all administrators and with teachers as well. So we're real proud that the state technical assistance teams gave us a little support in this area too. But I want to bring up co-chair of Special Ed Parent Advisory Council, Ms. Luna, and have her give a few words about how that helped and what she participated in as the co-chair of that advisory committee. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Karen Luna, and I am the co-chair of the Bridgeport Special Education Advisory Council alongside Natasha Ravina. Thank you so much. So, as a mother, as a therapist, and also as an advocate, I know there's one thing that every parent wants, and that is to ensure that their child is being seen, is safe, and being supported, as well as given every opportunity to succeed. You see, on top of that, every parent also wants to be part of that conversation. Those conversations that take place about decisions that are going to be made that are going to eventually, in some ways, right, impact their children. And I am proud to say that over the last year, we've been able to do that, right? We've been able to create a group in which are composed of parents, teachers, leaders, and communities, and being able to come together and have cohesive conversations about what are the things that are going well for them, but also what are some of the challenges. We've been able to obtain that information, receive that feedback from our parents, and take it to the district. And changes are already coming as a result of that. So when I think about what we should be celebrating that right now, right? Because at this time, we're providing the parents with what they've been asking for, which is that space to be heard. And one of the things that I've learned is that when we provide parents with a space to be heard, they show up, right? They show up and they are vulnerable. And one of the reasons as to why I wanted to join SEAC was because I wanted to be part of that. I wanted to be part of helping create that space for our parents to come on and share what it is that's working for them, but also what it is that we can improve on in order for the success of our children. I could say too that over the last couple of months, we've worked on finalizing finalizing our bylaws. We've been able to establish our vision and mission statements. We also have been able to provide trainings to our parents, to provide special education, to provide them with more resources and more tools so they can have that on their toolboxes. So over the last couple of months, we've been able to do so much. And I want to take the time to thank you, Superintendent Avery, for being able to, one, trust us with this mission and this huge responsibility, but to also for providing the spaces for parents' voices to be heard. I'll end by saying that at the end of the day, we're all here for our students, right? We're all here to provide them with the opportunity that they all deserve. We are also, when we think about this, right, like every child deserves to be seen and supported and safe, and every parent deserves to be empowered, and every voice deserves to be part of the table. So thank you so much.
See, I think one of the key points when we started talking about developing this advisory group, being able to kind of get the voice, I think that's been a true testament of the leadership of my team being able to kind of bring these people together to kind of to really talk about things that parents are needing and we work through that. So the other accomplishment we talked about is the professional learning. As a leader, it's always important that we learn, and not just from outside sources, but learn from each other. We have some very talented people in this district, and we need to make sure that we capitalize and take note of those individuals as we move forward. So doing a lot more of that is going to be important to the work that we need to be able to do. Then we move into student services, and as you know, student services can travel over a lot of different departments. Being able to kind of look at strengthening what's good for students, what type of system that kids thrive on, from the pre-K babies all the way to the seniors, and beyond, because our graduating seniors should be able to come back and impact this community. I think that's the important piece. If they find what they love within their schools, they're going to be able to come back and say, hey, I want to come back and work for that school district because they helped me through my strengths and my challenges moving forward. So again, I think that's important. And we talk about, not only school, opportunities, we're talking about counseling, mental health, housing, family resources, crisis response, and behavioral supports. All these systems are very important to the work and of a school district. And so we can't just leave one of those, out there by itself. You got to bring it in together collectively to kind of work through that. And some of the accomplishments we talked about, and went through, we had 343 students experience homelessness, and that's a lot of kids that need support, right? And so be it transportation to school, be it that they're with foster parents and still not having that connection to a meaningful meal at night and housing at night. So again, our staff are working 24/7, trying to make sure that we make those connections to those family resource centers and planning, really making sure that everything that we do is going to be working. And now I have Mr. Bell here is going to talk a little bit more about some of the things that student services and those home visits has done over this past year as well. So
good evening, everyone. I am Mr. Bell, and I was a security officer for 11 years, and I was moved into a leap role within the district. I work under the special ed department, and my job is to be who I am, that boots on the ground person, going to them houses and getting our kids integrated back into school. I'm housed at BLC. When I'm not doing that at BLC, I still have that security instance and just helping out with the school climate control there. But I have a few, I have a whole bunch of stories and good stories regarding myself being able to go do home visits. There was a kid at one of the schools that I'm at, and this kid he wasn't going to school for uh, almost, it was months, he was not. And they said, Mr. Bell, can you go over there and see what kind of resources that you can provide, or see what they need and bring it back to the district so we can provide resources to get that kid integrated back into school. It was tough to me that it's very difficult for that the mom to open up to the staff. So they said you might have a little challenge. So I went there and I knocked on the door, and the kid, nobody wasn't answering, and knocked on the door again. And the kid, I think he probably was in the 5th grade. He came to the window. He said, that's that guy from Facebook. That's Mr. Bell. And the mom literally opened the door. Um, I was able to connect with Miss McKinley regarding some resources for this young kid, because he had severe anxiety issues. Sue and I emailed Ms. McKenzie regarding some of the resources and things to that nature. She quickly responded, and that kid has been back into school, and the numbers at that school went down dramatically. Another kid is a high schooler. She was caught in a gun violence act in her neighborhood, and she wasn't going to be able to go to school. Mom was calling, saying that she really wanted to finish school, but we need some resources. Again, I emailed everybody, Ms. McKinley, and again, she said, Mr. Bell, if you can find resources, I'm going to look on my end. Let's give these moms the resources that she needs to get her child to graduate, because this is her last year. Last couple days ago, that child graduated. Yeah. I just want to say to whoever was a part of me being able to get this position, I thank you. I thank you, Dr. Raby, for entrusting me to do what I love to do. And what I love to do is to give kids an opportunity to learn. And by them coming to school, I'm doing what I believe my purpose is. Um, Another story, uh, an individual was going to school and he got caught up in some stuff. He had to go to detention. Uh, I was keeping an open line to him, and he was doing school in detention. Yesterday, he actually graduated with his class at River Cross School from detention. Uh, I'm honored to be able to fulfill the job of that, because I'm an assignment guy. You give me an assignment, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do my best to fulfill it. And I was just talking to PJ. I'm meeting with him tomorrow. He's gonna, you know, elaborate on things how we can make this better. And that's what it's about. You know, I've been in this position for about 5 months, and that 5 months been amazing. Uh, we everything can get better. And I think the way the school board, the way we are going, I think we on the right path. You know, there's always going to be difficulties, but there's always going to be positive in them difficulties. And when people see me, all I want them to understand that I'm here to bring a little positivity back, make you smile, make you want to be able to come back to school. And I thank the superintendent, the board, the executive board for making this lane for a person like me. And somebody asked me, what do I want to get out of this? I said, what do I want to, it was, I kind of thought a little. I said, what I want to get out of this job, yes, I want kids to come to school. I want numbers to go down. But what I really want to get out of this job is to do my best. So, it won't be as hard, or you won't have to look twice of looking in our own circle for someone to do something that he loves. And like I said, I was a guard for 11 years, and I was waiting for this opportunity to be able to show what Mr. Bell can do. And I thank you guys for letting me have that open door, and you guys having that open door, because we are in this together. And I appreciate you all.
Think 1,000 more like Mr. Bell. Very good, you know, when the job came about, he applied for it, you know, he was the man for the position, and he's done a superb job. So thank you for that very, very much. Let's keep it moving. You know, we talk about adult college career readiness. I think this has been a real big impact for us as well. You know, just really making sure that, kids that are struggling to try to get back into school, I think we've done a good job of being able to kind of get them back on the right track, getting GEDs and other, accomplishments for them at the adult age, and really making sure that the workforce readiness piece is a huge part for the high schools. We have to be very innovative. The manufacturing field is becoming a real big thing in Connecticut. So we have to be able to kind of make sure those high schools are working through the career and college readiness pieces as we move forward there as well. And then we talk about the financial management. I think important to note that, we talked a little bit about this earlier. I'm not going to, harsh on it, but I think Nestor and his team and really making sure that we stay laser focused and utilizing the dollars, the little that we have, and maximizing that has been a huge part of the work that we've done. Looking at the policies that the board has adopted, making sure that we have calendars and things that really align to getting it done the right way has been very, very important as well. And then a couple of thank yous that I want to make sure that they emphasize. Next slide. Really, when I first started my conversation, we talked about the collaboration with the city, with the mayor, with city council, delegation, and even with the state of Connecticut, guys. They've done a really super job of keeping us laser focused on the work and making sure that we got, and some of our, religious organization, faith acts, and some of the ones, they've done a really good job of really advocating at the state level for us as well to really help us line and get the funding that we need there. So again, I want to personally say thank you again to the group. $35 million is a huge, piece of the pie. It wasn't exactly enough. We were short about $9 to $10 million, but we did some internal work that really got us over the hump. So proudly in May, when we passed the budget, it was a balanced budget. So very, very proud about that as well. Moving to the next slide, we talk about, really the forensic audit. I'm not going to take a lot of time on this, but it's a lot of internal work that had to be done. And we took those very, very seriously regarding, the organization, the changes that we have to make and the checks and balances that we have to be fiscal responsible for taxpayers' dollars. I think that's been, a huge part of the work. We've established new policies, procedures, handbooks, things that internal work could be done by following the manuals and things that we've created. And I think that's important. One of the things that was a little disappointing is that we created a new school-based budgeting process. The school-based budgeting process is involving principals in the work of developing their own campus budgets. Although we didn't have the additional $8 to $10 million to fund their budgets, but we went through that exercise in order to make sure that when we get dollars, we need to be able to go back to school-based budgeting and giving those principals the opportunity to create their own individual budgets. That's how I was trained back 35 years ago, is that principals are able to develop their own budget based on an allocation that the district gave them based on the total district budget. So that process was developed and utilized. We spent hours going through with principals and working through making sure the staffing levels were correct, the funding for materials and supplies were correct, and then allow them to kind of allocate those dollars anywhere they choose based on their campuses, that's the way you do budgets as well. But this district has never done that way before. So with the guidance of the state, we're able to establish that process, and very proud that we're going to hopefully maintain that process moving forward as well. Again, talking about reporting systems, internal controls, those are key factors for fiscal accountability. Again, we did a lot of those. We looked at vendor contracts, and making sure that, everybody's going through the purchasing process the way it needs to be, and really just making sure the monitoring and, the focus of how we do our business is going to be maintained moving forward. We also looked at, we currently use the MENA system. but we're also looking at using additional capacity of the Munis system to be able to do the work a little bit better. And so Nestor and his team is taking the Munis opportunities. We're going to be training staff over the summer and into the new school year on how to use these functionalities a little bit better than we've used before. And then we go into internal controls, the fiscal recovery and cost savings. And I'm very proud, guys, because we didn't know if we were going to meet budget or not. But we started the process with, going through, we got Medicaid. This year, the state technical assistance team helped us to kind of identify that we could get Medicaid reimbursement from the state, but that we were never getting before. And so this year we got about a $500,000 with Medicaid reimbursement. And I think already calculating for next year to be over $1 million. That's extra additional funding that this district can use any way they choose to use it. And we were not tapping into that resource. So we're very proud to say that we are really tracking that now. And there's, those reimbursements can be done for a lot of different reasons for, transportation, medical supplies, things that we're providing children in our school district right now. So very, very, excited about that. We looked at, a savings around the healthcare claims. There's been a very internal review of who and what we're doing and how we're, accounting for these claims and really making sure that staffing efficiencies are in line to what we need in this district, as with our nursing staff, those types of things, and really strengthening the fiscal oversight. And I think that is something that's been kind of lacking the last couple of years in this district. We have to be held accountable, and this is where the community comes into play. The community has to be able to understand the process, be able to hold us and the board accountable for doing the right things. Keep it moving. Again, we talked a little bit about additional savings. We went to the transportation company and we saved about $160,000 just by going and say, hey, we need to tighten up our transportations in the district, and that worked out well. And then George's staff did the LED lighting upgrades that generated almost $1 million worth of savings as well. Again, making sure that we're trying to be digitally, secure in the work that we do. My understanding and my analysis of the district over the last 2 years is that we do a lot of things manually. We got a lot of Excels. We have a lot of form stack forms, but we're going to be digitally, sound moving forward because we have to be able to utilize our financial system, which is Munis, and our student system, which is Power School. Being able to use those systems in a way that's going to be efficiently done, better every single day in this district. So you can click a button and you can have approval processes instead of having to send a document to one person, send it to the next person. It's all done electronically. So we set our stage of being able to get those processes in place moving forward. Facility-wise, again, we talked about the long-range planning. We had the demographic and the master plan that was developed. We had over $702 million worth of needs in this district. So we have to be able to start chunking those needs and be able to prioritize how we're going to make facilities better, making sure that we equip our facilities to be, state of the art, especially the new facilities that we're building in this district, being state of the art and kind of work from there. But I do want to, talk a little bit about, again, we talked about the, we did an evaluation of all 37 facilities in the district to really kind of look at what we can do, what can we save, what can we make better. We did a roadmap for modernization and educational alignment. We have a brand new there's a proposal for advancing the East End School project, which is about $125 million pre-K through 8 facility that will hold about 750 kids as well. So that is, again, another exciting opportunity that we'll be working with our delegation, the board, and the city council and the mayor on. over the next year to kind of to get those funds secured and making sure that it's going to be something that's going to really happen over the next couple of years for the children. The board approved a 5-year capital improvement plan, like I said earlier, approximately $116 million, including approximately 12.6 million in fiscal year priority projects. That was approved this year as well. I think early April, May, I think it was. Again, so we're still there's that $700 million, needs is a lot. So we're having to chunk those year to year to make sure that we can have smaller, increments of getting things accomplished. Again, we expanded our enrollment center with the partnership of Housatonic, and I have Dr. Collins here that's going to give a few words about the partnership that we've had with Housatonic. It's been a huge opportunity for us to really, partner. We have a lot more to do. He's new in his role this year as well, and so we have great conversations. Looking forward to having more of those conversations and doing a lot more work with the kids. So come up and tell us a little bit more about that partnership. So,
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to be here with you this evening. I appreciate and love to hear about all the great things that you all are doing. As Dr. Avery just mentioned, new campus president over at CT State Housatonic, rounding out my first year. And so, as you can imagine, coming into the institution of higher ed of the community college in the area, one of the biggest partners we have is our public school system. And so having the opportunity to meet with Dr. Avery and see his caring and commitment to student success and the piece he kept stressing about collaboration was refreshing to hear. And I knew I landed in the right place because I knew I had a great partner in this work that we do around trying to make sure that there's access and opportunity to education. And so I'm proud to be able to house the enrollment center on our campus. It's been a great partnership. The ability for our students and our families to be able to come on campus in an accessible environment to access that has been tremendous. I've also appreciated the opportunity in his collaborative way. He was like, let's get our leadership teams together. So we actually came to Bridgeport Public School building. Our leadership teams met. And so we were brainstorming what are ways that we can continue to enhance the work that we're all doing here in this city. So I really look forward to the work that we need to do. Over 51% of our students at CT State Housatonic come from Bridgeport. So I know how important it is to have that strong partnership. And I look forward to working alongside you as we go forward. Thank you.
Again, one of the other emphasis I want to kind of is the STEM learning centers. The Hall Neighborhood House and the Allen Wallet Center has done a really good job of making sure we have STEM labs in all of our elementary schools and also getting ready to move them into the high schools. And this is an opportunity where they're spending millions of dollars for these STEM centers in this district, and we have to maximize. And so this next year, we're going to be working with our curriculum department and their curriculum departments and bridge those two things together and really supporting, making sure we have teachers and support staff in those STEM labs to be able to provide all types of robots and bots and things that their kids are using now. And if you hadn't seen them, we need to get you guys into some of those STEM labs to participate in that. It's a really great opportunity for kids to learn. They're coding. It's just amazing just to watch them really, even the small little babies doing. I mean, it's just wonderful. We appreciate that partnership as well. Going into communication, transparency, and community engagement, I do want to give a shout out to Giancarlo and Tim. They've done an excellent job in really promoting the brand new website that went on air in early September. They've done a good job of bringing those things back into play. They just added a bot, I think, at the bottom of the screen that will get parents. They can research anything on the website by putting a little search thing in there, and it really gives them what they need right at their fingertips. So it's just been a really good opportunity to really engage the community in a totally different way. They also started a podcast with almost 1,000 views We got community leaders across this community to kind of talk about what and how they can impact this district. And so very, very proud that, it's important that, we do everything that we possibly can, guys, to really connect the community and be transparent about the work that we're doing, and that we'll continue to do as well with the special ed advocacy, and just really sitting and listening to folks. I do a monthly, a couple of months, 2 or 3 times a month. I'm working with teacher leaders and really kind of listen to the voice of teachers, all the different content areas. So really trying to make sure that we're reaching down to the ground roots of the work. And teachers are part of that. They have a lot of members in their organization. And we're getting ready. And also I meet monthly with principals, just being the principals, no one else, really trying to understand the work and being able to kind of make that connection or tying my divisions to the different aspects of working through those things as well. Again, we provided the state of first time the state of the district address in a while. Had a really, really good turnout back in December, I think it was. Oh, yeah, January, November. The time flies here. But it was just a great opportunity. We had community members, we had parents, we had students. It was just a good opportunity for this district to say, hey, where are we going? And that was mid-year as we did that. And then it carried us through this year. And Friday is the last day for all kids in the district. So we're looking forward to closing out a great school year. Again, talked a little bit about, the advocacy piece, and I do want to commend Rob and his committee and the board as a whole. I think we did a fantastic job of advocating. I think it's important that we continue that fight. We have the ECS formula that's coming up that needs to be fixed. And we're going to stay right in front of that. Our kids are going to be excited. We're going to try to get the kids a little bit more involved sooner than later, being able to kind of work through. Again, we took about 100 kids to the state capitol during the legislative session, the short session. There was almost over 500 public testimonies on behalf of Bridgeport Public Schools, and that is awesome. And so again, I think the goal next year is to up that to 1,000 if we can get it, and bring more kids if we can get them there as well. So that's very, very important to be able to do, because they have to lift those guardrails and give us a little bit more money to do the work that we so desperately need to do, because we're ready to do it. We just need the additional dollars to make that happen. So again, bi-weekly meetings, the board has an ad hoc committee to bring that up. They did a great job of getting that committee, and having the voice of that committee. So I appreciate, the board. Again, social media, district podcast, and district communication tools has done a magical job with working with our community. Again, the next slide talks a little bit about, again, the partnership, the advocacy. We established the Community Partner Advocacy, Council monthly, and that's just with the communications department. They have communication people coming together and talking about how do we get better. And that's always important to be able to do, is always have that plan of how do we get better. And then again, we talked a little bit about partnerships with colleges and universities. We got to continue to do that as well. Stay with me, guys. I'm almost finished. The professional learning and capacity building. It's one of the things that's important is that how do you bring people in to connect with the district and making sure that we continue to work. We had external partners this year that did a really good job of really making sure that we stay connected. The Hill for Literacy did a lot of the coaching for us. HMS did coaching for the math. Peter can kind of attest to that. We had a multilingual language summit at the end of the year that was fantastic. We did again the IEP quality checks, the JWV assessment training, really making sure that our staff is equipped to take assessment and do assessments across the district. And again, I think one of the key points of bringing an external partner is the state of Connecticut. They did a really good job of making sure they can give us the resources that we didn't have access to prior to them being part of of this whole perspective here. And then we had internal, professional learning, back to school training for administrators. We have admin council every single month, district literacy and math leadership meetings quarterly. We had meetings with the library, figuring out how we're going to be able to transition librarians back and support our school librarians across the district as well. And then we talked about board and governance relationship. Very proud of the board. I think the board did a good job. There was a lot of requirements on the board this year. I also participated in those state mandated, trainings that the board had. I wanted to be part of that team. So I was just a person in the room when they also received that training. So I'm real proud of them taking that on. And what that does, it makes a bigger and stronger, bolder board to advocate and do the things we need to do. Yes, it's been a rocky road over the last couple of years, but I think this year, I think the board has shown, I think, to the state of Connecticut that they're ready and they're poised to do this work collectively and collaboratively together as we move forward. So I think that's important to be able to do. I meet, pretty regularly with the board members individually. They have access to me, pretty much not 24/7, but 8 to 5, either way, 7 to 5 or something like that, right? But again, I try to make myself available to them as well as needed as we move forward with this as well. And then as we conclude, I think it's important for me to, I'm going to read that last sentence for the last paragraph for you, because I think it's very powerful. And I want to make sure that, it's not all about Dr. Avery, it's about the team. It's about, not only the team that works with me on a day-to-day basis, but it's talking about the board of 9 as this team and being and having the opportunity to lead. I do that, with grace. I do that with pride, and I've done this work, and I will continue to do the work as long as I'm wanted in this district. And so I'm ready to raise up the sleeves again. Our hardest part of the year is now. When school's out, we start the work, and so it's important to be able to do. But the work completed this year does not eliminate the challenges ahead. We will have challenges. We still have challenges. And I think it's important to understand that I will acknowledge those challenges every single day, but I'm a fighter, and I'm a competitor. I mean, I compete, and I compete very well. I don't like to lose. And so I'm going to fight the fight with this community, with the board, with my administrative staff to do what's best for kids. Student achievement must continue to be improved. We lack that. We have to get better academically in this district, and people are going to have to be held accountable for that. And so if you're going to hold me accountable, we have to hold teachers accountable, administrators accountable, my executive staff accountable, and then the community has to hold the board accountable. Student achievement has to improve in this district, and the work has to get done. And so we have to be able to knock those barriers down, and let's get the work done. That's what we're here for. So that's important for me. The financial pressures remain. We're gonna roll into the next school year with a deficit. And how do we defeat that deficit? By collaborating together to get this work done. That's important to me as well. The district must sustain its focus on accountability, equity, and continuous improvement. That's what education is all about. Is continuous improvement. As long as we say that we're continuing to improve, that's all anybody can ask. And we're going to do that with a smiling face, and we wake up every day. It's a new day, and let's get this work together. Let's get it done. However, the evidence presented in this report demonstrates that this leadership team, that includes the board, this leadership, that includes my principals, my directors, my executive directors, my assistant superintendents, my chiefs, everybody, it's important that it produces meaningful progress and it positions this school district to be one of the best school districts in the state of Connecticut. So what I would like to do right now, I'm going to leave you with a video. And the video kind of encapsulates everything that I talked about today. And again, I'm proud to be the interim school superintendent of Bridgeport Public Schools.
Teachers are speaking up because they say students deserve a better education than what they are receiving.
Every school year brings opportunity and challenge. For Bridgeport Public Schools, this year began under real pressure.
Students in Bridgeport are going to head back to school in just a couple of weeks, but some of them will need to walk farther to get to class.
Reduced supports, open positions, families adjusting to change. But pressure has a way of revealing purpose. So before students walked back through the doors, the work began. A new central enrollment center opened to make access easier for every family.
Now parents don't have to go to various locations. They're able to come here in one location and be welcomed and get everything answered and processed in one place.
The mission was simple: keep students at the center of every decision. When school opened, challenges remained, but momentum was building. Transportation was stabilized, classroom support was restored, and staffing, the district's biggest hurdle, became its biggest turnaround. More than 100 certified vacancies were reduced to 41. As positions were filled and support systems strengthened, schools gained the stability needed to focus on teaching, learning, and student success. Systems and structures were built to improve outcomes, strengthen accountability, and create long-term sustainability. Chronic absenteeism declined by 2.6%. Thousands more students were present, engaged, and connected to learning. With students in seats and stronger instructional systems in place, academic achievement improved, and multiple schools successfully exited state accountability identification status. With stability came the chance to build. Through advocacy and careful stewardship, new resources were secured and invested where they matter most: in students, staff, and schools.
The center of this whole piece is students, and as we look at our young adults and as they make an impact to this community, it's going to start here and it's going to be here for a long, long time.
The focus was not just on solving immediate challenges, but on building systems that would sustain improvement for years to come. New curriculum frameworks were launched in literacy, mathematics, science, and multilingual learner programming. None of it happened behind closed doors. More than 20 community forums and listening sessions, along with the district's first State of the Schools address, brought the community to the table, rebuilding trust through transparency.
Dr. Avery, you inspire me. Your words and your demeanor and your preparation and the way you have led so many people into this hearing to testify is remarkable. I think that you very well could be the guy to turn this around in Bridgeport, and I thank you.
More students met grade-level expectations. More schools demonstrated measurable progress, and the results followed.
Okay, I try really hard not to give an opinion, but I'm sorry, the proof is in the pudding. This guy stepped in as interim superintendent of schools when the district was on fire. If Dr. Avery wants it, I don't think there's any contest.
The work isn't finished. Challenges remain. But this is not the same Bridgeport Public Schools it was 2 years ago. The direction is clear. Systems are stronger. Accountability is greater. Opportunities have expanded. And every day we continue building a district where students are supported, educators are empowered, and success is sustainable. Because at the heart of every decision, every investment, and every improvement is one shared purpose: our students.
Thank you.
I did not announce that Ms. Medina was in the meeting, and Mr. Daniels and Mix Burks Jennings are online. I didn't say your name at the beginning. So I just wanted to follow the attendance. But they've been on for a while. So we'll open up some questions for Dr. Avery. Albert Benahan.
It's not a question, but I'm saying, where you been? I'm always saw you there, Dr. Avery. Thank you. Thank you. You make it strategic change. Very proud and everybody know what you did, in our numbers proposed schools, go up, they're gonna keep going up. With your mentorship, everything, your passion and everything. And I respect, and I keep saying, you put a lot of things on the side. Be quietly for Bridgeport school. And I'm honored to be for everything you have. Thanks, sir. Thank you.
Madam Chair, Lamont Giles, may I be recognized?
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Daniels.
Great, thank you. So Dr. Avery, I just want to say thank you for your report and presentation. As a new board member, I've learned very quickly, this is a very busy board and there's a lot going on in our district. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of competing priorities and a lot of challenges. But just want to, listening to the presentation and hearing from everyone who spoke, it's clear that you and your team, you all have been really working really hard to navigate all of this stuff. I appreciate your steady leadership throughout it, and it should be commended tonight. And like we all know, there's still more work to do, but I think it's just as important to pause and recognize the work that's already being done, that is happening in our city. So thank you to you and your team. It is greatly appreciated and should be recognized this evening. Thank you.
Mr. Scholar.
Always gotta be.
Was that really a fair question? I like comparative data, so a couple of points I would like. Like some last year numbers. Is expanded career and college and work opportunities, supporting 4,417 college applications. Do we have a comparative number from last year for that?
And we probably get it for you. We don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, and just in the interest of time, the questions are gonna be in a similar vein, MLL students, just to see the growth over year, because the one number tells me really how much. I like the comparative numbers. I'll send you. I'll send you a list of the programs. I think.
Well, what, do you have one question?
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you again, Dr. Avery. I mean, I didn't know you were bringing it today. Really did. Did not think you were bringing it today, but you definitely brought it. If you wouldn't mind, I have a couple of points or to bring out our things with some of the speakers that we had. I think one of them is here, Miss Wendy Nelson. Hi, Miss Wendy. So I saw in the report that there was progress in math that showed the gains. And what is it that you guys are using now to look at those gains? Because I seen it went from 38% to 56%. So what is it that you guys are using to assess that increase?
We're using the HMH, Dream Muffs, we're using NWEA, and we're using IEBs, Dream IEBs.
I know a little bit about a few of those. NWEA, how is that supporting the process of making sure that the kid, because I mean, I want everybody to know, because I know a little bit about it, because I became a mathematician with a particular teacher in Roosevelt School, and it's very emotional for me because again, this is how I learned math, because I knew the support that I had. So I wanted to talk about that. So how is NWEA helping the process to support students in this growth that we already see? 38%. I want to say that recommend 38% to 56%.
So the NWA is a benchmark. So in September, we do a benchmark. And from then in January, we do another one. And then in May, we do another to show growth. And we encourage the kids to show growth. They're trying to beat your prior score. So it's kind of like a little competition within themselves to try and do better every time.
That's all that passion we were talking.
Yeah.
That whole thing about, 3 times, that's good because they can work with themselves on how to improve. They're not competing with each other, but it's.
We have conversations with them in the beginning. We say, this is where you are. And their goal is to show growth. I don't care where you are. Some are a lot lower than the others, and we just want to make sure that they feel good about themselves, that they're showing growth, and it is making a big difference.
Thank you very much. Miss Karen Luna, I believe, correct?
Kiara.
Kiara, sorry. I was trying to write everything down. Thank you again for your work. I haven't been around when the original forming of the committee and everything. How many parents are in there again right now? I want everybody to hear this.
Yeah, so right now we have about 15 parents that are part of the, board.
And again, I just want to make sure people hear this, that there's room for more.
Absolutely. We're
Because-
always inviting more parents to come and join us. We're having monthly meetings. We've had just our last one in May, and it was wonderful. We had an amazing participation. Carly and Giancarlo do also an amazing job in supporting us and getting the message out there. So always please share, more the merrier. We want more parents and we want to hear more feedback.
Thank you. I know he's not here. Well, he left, Mr. Bell, but you said something also, Miss Miss Milson, right? Wind time.
What do you need? What?
What
I need? Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to learn about that. Wait a minute, she said it a couple of times. And I'm like, "That's time. I need to find out."
It's what I need, time frame, and then we take kids into small groups and we work on their challenges and to increase their skills.
Thank you, and Dr. Avery, for you as far as in general. And I was trying to look at your presentation and, finding out what it means to you or in your presentation, just the stabilization of the district. And I saw a lot of things that you already put down, the accountability, which what is it that you want to be accountable for? You mentioned that, so I appreciate that. And then the transformational thing that has already happened, you mentioned it in your thing. And again, I like everybody's point that, we're far from being where we want to be, but we definitely can see the increase in the fast of almost every single area. And I will be very interested, and I was trying to find out how the campus leaders think. So I'm looking forward to maybe hitting up at our next meeting to figure out if we can have an exit survey of some sort to have them in, because I want to hear from them. I know we as a board would love to hear from them to see how they feel, what is already been done and to accomplish.
We're actually, the climate surveys that are required by the state of Connecticut has just been completed. They're tallying the information up now. Where they're gonna go. They're completed. We just need to get that information back. I'll tell you guys. Yeah, we'll have those results. We'll get with Carly and we'll have the results out. Yeah, we'll have it out to you guys. It's like a real report that you can see every single campus, how they reported individual campus and then district wide as well. So that'll be coming to you in the next couple of weeks as well.
And then the only thing that I maybe failed to see, or in my busyness here of taking notes, I wanted to know where we are with literacy, kids reading and all that stuff. And I was trying to get a little bit more information, but I'll touch upon that another day.
Remember, the scores are not in yet. They're embargoed right now. So as soon as the state of Connecticut, releases those scores, the board will have those. Right now, they're still embargoed. And so we can't make them public yet. So that information is coming.
Awesome.
For this school year, they just took the test in May, so those scores are embargoed, and then once they kind of release them, you'll hear about it. The state will kind of release it, and then we'll be able to release it to the board as well.
Awesome. And one thing that you skipped, which I didn't want to skip, the bilingual vacancies went from 6 to 2.
That's correct.
And you didn't, that's the only area, and I think that you failed to mention. I wanted to make sure that, because again, it's big.
My eyes are playing tricks on me. I'm reading off my notes here, and I'm like, oh, that's
the bilingual students, so I know that that's very important. And then also another thing is 98% plus staffing in critical specialist positions. So again, this is where we started at, where we were at, and I think, hopefully, we're gonna see the changes, come next year. It's gonna be way different. So I appreciate everything that's done now, but also I'm looking forward to what's coming ahead, because it's just, thank you.
All right, so board members, tomorrow we should be sending out your the evaluation forms that you can complete. We'd like them done within the next week and a half, and hopefully we can come back July 6th, a board meeting to review the evaluation. And a couple of days later, come back to offer Dr. Avery his final evaluation. So we'll stay tuned on your emails to make sure that those dates work. But definitely tomorrow you'll have the evaluations begin, and there is a deadline. You have to conclude it by hopefully the 5th. Like, everybody get it done. Wait this process, okay? That gives us over to, I think 10 days or so. All right, and then, yeah, so that's all I have for that. We can move on to Dr. Avery again. Team. All right, so we'll move on to item number 4, the proposed memorandum of agreement between the Connecticut State Board of Education on behalf of the Connecticut State Department of Education and the Bridgeport Board of Education on behalf of the Bridgeport Public School District. The authorization for chairperson to execute the memorandum of agreement in the final form as it. So this is what guys have all these pieces ready. So just for folks to know, is this memorandum of agreement is for me to sign for the state to be able to pay for the superintendent search, so that does not come out of the pocket of the district. So with that said, I just need a motion so that we can go into that agreement. And if it's authorized me to sign that form, get it done tonight. Get the check tomorrow. No, I don't know. Soon.
I move to authorize the chair to sign the agreement with the state.
Second.
Second, Mr. Benahan. Any debate on that? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Lamont Daniels, aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Ayes have it. So I'm going to sign that tonight and let the state know. Last item on the agenda is review and possible amendments of the proposed agreement between the Zeal Education Group and the Bridgeport Board of Education, and authorizations of myself to the chairperson to execute the agreement in its final form as approved. I know that the board has some amendments they want to propose for this. So that's that. I'll open it up to you guys.
We start with the attorney.
You have questions?
Yeah, Madam Chair, at the appropriate time, I don't want to step on your discussion, but subsequent to the selection committee discussion, drafted up a couple of amendments to this, which I think address concerns that board members had. To present those, I can do it up front.
Yeah, I think that's.
Okay, thank you. I think the two issues involve timing and staff, and would suggest to address the staffing issue. If we go to page 2, the end of subsection 1C, engagement of contractor, I would recommend that you consider adding something similar to the following. Mr. Melendez, who is the lead project person for the contractor, it would read, Mr. Melendez shall be assisted in performing the services hereunder by contractor staff identified in the proposal, parentheses, see section 4D, close parentheses, upon approval by the BBOE. So in other words, the board would, on, can even say upon consultation with and approval by. There were a number of players who proposed to participate in this contract, probably more than that might be necessary and efficient. So I think the board wanted to and keep it to a small group so that the interaction is more efficient and effective. So if you're inclined, I can read that slower, and once again, we'd simply indicate that while Mr. Melendez is the principal responsible party, It's understood he's going to be participated with by other members of the staff, but the board wants to be consulted on that. So again, it would be Mr. Melendez shall be assisted in performing the services hereunder by contractor staff identified in the proposal. See section 4D upon consultation with and approval by the B.
Mr. Chambers?
Yes, Madam Chair, I think that I heard that correctly the second time. I didn't hear it clearly the first time. But the language sounded fine to me.
So that's one amendment. The other amendment is with respect to the time. And the effort is going to be to start this process ASAP. In all likelihood, sometime between July 1 and at the very latest, July 15. More likely closer to July 1st. The state requires an appointment of a selected or an appointment of a candidate or a selection of a candidate by December 1st. We talk in here about trying to keep the feet to the fire and have the contractor perform the work within 4 months. That doesn't necessarily mesh with the fact that we're pushing the start date out to closer to July 15. So I thought what we might want to do is if you go to page 4, section 3, the first paragraph, we would put a clause at the end of the first sentence. The first sentence now reads, the term of this agreement shall commence on the latter of the date upon which the final signature of the parties is made thereto, or such date as is set forth in the commencement date and the notice to proceed that's issued by purchasing. I thought we would add at the end of that sentence a comma that says, but not later than July 15, 2026. So it certainly can happen early, but not later than July 15, 2026. Then we would go to the last sentence in that paragraph. It now reads, it's anticipated that this agreement term shall not exceed 4 months with a target for completion within 4 months. That should be changed. Shall not exceed 5 months with a target for completion within 4 months. And now let's see if that works out. That would be July 15 to August 15, September, October, November. Well, that gets us too far. That's December 15th. So we should say 4.5 months. No, let's not to exceed, a term shall not exceed, let's just put it in, December 1, 2026, with a target for completion within 4 months. So we're still keeping their feet to the fire, but we're mirroring the date we had with the state. Because it's got to be done by December 21st, December 1st rather, of 26. Then the next paragraph, it says next paragraph, first sentence. The parties agree that the services to be provided by the contractor shall be completed no later than October 30, 2026. We should change that also to December 1, 2026. So they will form by December 1, 2026, rather than October 30. Now, there's always an opportunity to extend this contract because there's some other proposed follow-on services that the board may take advantage of, such as helping with the onboarding process, which frankly would be many months down the road, because the goal being to have somebody start by we have to talk.
Yeah.
Have you, I don't know if you've come to a conclusion on that, but we need to, that doesn't necessarily need to go in here. That will need to go into your advertisement. Because I don't think we're looking to start anybody in the middle of the school year. So we'd be looking at either July 1 or August 1, sometime next summer in the interim. You have a little time to make that decision. I would recommend you make that decision in consultation with the consultant when he first meets with you. What is their recommendation for an ad? Because they're gonna be drafting that ad with your input. So I guess here, all we're doing is putting in that the start will be not later than July 15 of 2026. The work will be completed not later than December 1st of 2026, and that'll appear in both the last sentence of the first paragraph and the first sentence of the second.
Those were the,
Any questions or?
those are the two matters we previously discussed. Mr. Skolnick?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve the proposed agreement between Zeal Education Group and the Bridgeport Board of Education as presented and amended by Mr. Anastasia.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Brannigan got the second first. so. It's okay. Any further debate on this? Mr. Traber?
No, Madam Chair, I was going to say I would agree with those changes.
Okay. I see none, we can take a vote, all in favor.
Aye.
Say aye.
See?
Any,
McDaniel's aye.
any opposed? Oh,
Yeah.
It's fine with the votes for both contracts, but I just want to alert the board that if for some reason the state or Zeal points out a Scribner error, a typo, something that needs to be changed, non-material, doesn't change any of the technical terms, the compensation, the dates or any of that, that obviously the chair could sign something that corrects spelling and those types of errors. You would all be provided with a copy of any such changes. I don't anticipate any, but it wouldn't be the first time. Thank you.
Thank you. The ayes have it. Alrighty, final item, Mr. Medina,
Yeah, make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
second by Mr. Benningham. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, meeting adjourned at 8:46. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Mario.
Yay.
Thank you, Mario. Thank you, Mr. Anastasi.
Welcome. Thank you. Good night.
Have a great day.
My condolences, sir, by the way. I heard